Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to demystify a platform that honestly often feels like a super exclusive club just for hardcore programmers. But here's the thing. It's actually become absolutely essential for everyone in this modern AI era, and that platform is GitHub. We are going to tackle this entire thing purely from a beginner's perspective, showing you exactly how to confidently navigate the platform without needing a computer science degree.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We'll look at why you actually need GitHub, clear up the super confusing difference between Git and GitHub, learn how to evaluate projects, walk step by step through registering your account, and cover how to actually download projects the right way. Finally, we'll wrap up with the most common beginner pitfalls you need to avoid.
So you know that moment of absolute panic? You ask an AI tool like ChatGPT or Claude for a solution, or maybe you're just reading a cool tutorial online, and boom, they hand you a GitHub link. You click it, and suddenly you are faced with a massive wall of raw code, complex file structures, totally unfamiliar jargon, and all these confusing green buttons. It honestly feels like you've walked into the wrong classroom, right? But listen, if you are using AI to write code, build tools, or create prototypes right now, GitHub is a platform you simply cannot avoid.
So what is it exactly? Well, you can just think of GitHub as a massive online folder where people from all over the world share, improve, and build upon each other's projects. It is literally the world's largest open source platform. And open source just means the project's content is totally public. When someone builds a new tool, they put the code, the files, and the instruction manuals right here. But it's not just some static download site. It's a global collaboration system. It's a living, breathing ecosystem where people come together to fix bugs and add features, making the project continuously better over time.
Moving right along to Section 1, Git versus GitHub, clearing up the confusion.
This setup brilliantly illustrates the difference, and it's the number one thing that trips up beginners. Git is the underlying technology. It's a version control tool that runs deep in the background. Think of it as the ultimate save system or archive that records every single tiny change made to a file, so you can rewind if something breaks. GitHub, on the other hand, is the friendly online product interface. It's the actual website that hosts those projects, so you can view, download, and collaborate on them visually. And here is the absolute best news for beginners. You do not need to memorize a single complex Git command line to start using the GitHub website effectively.
All right, Section 2, our interface guide and essential terms, so you can start navigating with confidence.
Imagine you find a brand new AI tool on GitHub. How do you know if it's actually reliable? Well, you can instantly evaluate any project by checking 4 key areas. First, always check the README. This is basically the project's instruction manual. If it's clear, has some screenshots, and explains the installation steps nicely, it's beginner-friendly. Second, look at the stars. Think of these as bookmarks or likes. High stars generally mean high popularity and trust. Third, check the updates. Tech moves ridiculously fast, so if a project hasn't been updated in 3 years, it's probably broken. Finally, look at the Issues tab to see if the creator is actively fixing bugs reported by users. Checking these 4 things right off the bat will literally save you hours of frustration.
Now, to read these project pages like a total pro, there are exactly 10 terms you need in your vocabulary toolkit. Let's break them down real simple.
Just think of a repository as your main project folder, and the README as its instruction manual. When people make changes to the project, they save a commit, or if they want to test things out safely without breaking the main file, they use a branch. See something you really like? Give it a star to bookmark it, or fork it to make your very own personal copy in your account. If you spot a problem, head over to an issue, which basically acts as a public message board for bugs. If you actually know how to fix that bug, you can submit a pull request to suggest an edit to the creator. And finally, when you are ready to actually get the tool, you'll look for a release, which is the official download area for ready-to-use software rather than the raw code section. See? When you know the lingo, the entire platform suddenly becomes much less intimidating.
Let's jump to Section 3, the Beginner Account Registration Guide. Taking your first step.
Setting up a standard free account is incredibly straightforward. There's no hidden fees or crazy complex verifications. You simply head to the GitHub homepage and hit the Sign Up button right up in the top right corner. You'll drop in your email, create a secure password, and pick a cool, unique username. After a really quick email verification step, you are officially in. That's literally it. A free account is perfectly sufficient for 99% of what you need and acts as your ultimate passport to start browsing, downloading, saving your favorite AI tools, and eventually hosting your own projects.
Section 4 is a big one: how to download projects correctly and getting what you actually need.
Okay, pay attention here, because downloading projects is where most beginners make their absolute biggest mistake. There are two main ways to download files. The first method is clicking that really bright, tempting green button that says Code and selecting Download Zip, which extracts the files directly onto your computer. But here is the catch that ruins so many beginners' afternoons. This method gives you the raw source code of the entire project. For a lot of AI tools or software apps, this raw code requires further complex setup, terminal commands, or programming environments to actually run. It is usually not a ready-to-click and play application.
So, what should you do if you just want to use a tool immediately, like a normal piece of software? Ignore that green code button at first. Instead, scan the right side of the repository page for a little section called Releases. This, right here, is the beginner's best friend. This is where developers hide the actual ready-to-use installation packages, like a normal Windows.exe file or a Mac.dmg file. You literally just find the latest official version, download the one for your operating system, click it, and it runs.
Let's lock this golden rule into your brain right now. Always look for releases first. Releases gives you the straightforward, ready-to-use software installers that you can run immediately. Only use Download Zip to get the raw source code if a release installer isn't available, or if you specifically want to grab the underlying code so you can have an AI modify it for you later.
We're in the home stretch. Section 5, our Beginner Common Pitfall Guide. What to avoid as a newcomer.
We've obviously already tackled the biggest pitfall, blindly downloading raw code instead of hunting for that releases section first. But the second pitfall is a massive mental barrier. It's believing you have to master Git command lines right out of the gate. You really don't. The GitHub website is designed to be navigated visually. Just use it to search, bookmark, and download without ever opening a code terminal. And finally, please never be afraid to submit an issue. So many beginners think that because they aren't programmers, they have no right to speak up. But listen, if an instruction manual is confusing or an installation outright fails, reporting that in the Issues tab is actually a massive contribution to the community. Open source creators desperately need that real user feedback to make things better.
And that brings us to our final thought for this explainer. The landscape has completely changed. In a world where AI can literally write the code for you, the real skill is knowing where to find the building blocks, how to collaborate, and where to host your creations. GitHub is no longer an exclusive club. It's a fundamental life skill for anyone navigating the AI era. You now have the roadmap, you know the vocabulary, and you have the right methods to download safely. So the only question left is, when the world's most powerful open source tools are sitting right there at your fingertips, what are you going to build first?